Oh, didn't see you there. Alex with the Card Guys, here to show you a very, very cool, informative video, contrary to what most people would think coming from me. I'm here to help you not eat pizza by round 3 because we all know how expensive convention center pizza can get. Today I want to help by helping craft a side deck. The side deck is a very, very important part of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game itself. It consists of 15 cards that you can access in between games during matches. This is super quintessential because you can add cards that are particularly effective against certain strategies and help you win against certain decks in the metagame. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Generally has a diverse metagame, side decks are very, very important only because you can't exactly main all the cards against every deck that'll just blanket everything and then expect your deck to remain consistent. In some decks, especially in this metagame, I suppose you can get away with it. For example, Burning Abyss, meaning Chaos Hunter strategy. However, I personally find this to be very, very inconsistent. People are also remaining Ghost Ogre and Snow Bunny, right? Snow Bunny? Yeah, Snow Bunny in the Burning Abyss and other rogue strategies to counteract ABC and ABC Dragon Buster. Yeah, it's cherries, isn't it? Yeah, alright, well, who cares? So anyway, I just want to help by showing how I approach a side deck strategy and how I construct a very good side deck. And the first part is analyzing the metagame, and that's super, super important to do. You really have to understand what the best deck is and why it's the best deck and why it is beating every other deck in the format. That requires analyzation of the past format too. How come these decks have fallen off? This could be because of a ban list that appeared. This could be simply because the newer decks are significantly more powerful than the older decks. As this video is being created right now, we're in a format where Invasion of Vengeance or Venom? Who cares? That just came out. So we now have the new Metal Foe cards. And then on top of that, we have a new structure deck, which includes Yugi and Kaiba. And Kaiba introduced the ABC monsters, which brings forth ABC Dragon Buster, one of the most powerful boss monsters we have in the metagame right now. And so these two strategies are currently ousting, by that I mean ABC and Metal Foe are currently ousting other strategies, and therefore rogue strategies such as Burning Abyss. The only way they can keep up is by main decking hate against both of these decks. More particularly ABC, because the new card Dimensional Barrier seems to be a good check for Metal Foe. That being said, in constructing the side deck, you really have to understand that these are the cards that people are trending towards. So, for example, let's say you want to play an ABC deck, right? So this is obviously the most prevalent deck, and this is a deck that everyone is going to try and flood out. Now, in the metagame, there are two types of decks. There's the deck that they're going to flood out, and there's the deck that is doing the flooding because it's not as good or its engine isn't as powerful, and it can't go head-to-head, and it can't compete with the more powerful decks. So in crafting the side, you really have to take that into account. So let's say you're the deck that, like I said, is like ABC. You know, you're getting flooded. So you really have to side a lot of back row hate for decks that are really, you know, let's say they're setting like mistakes and stuff if you're playing Necroz or things like that. But in this format in particular, because Ghost, Reaper, and Winter Cherries is so popular, there's a new card, Pot of Acquisitiveness, which is a direct counter to a certain side deck card, Cherries, which has come out. So that being said, when you're playing the deck that's getting flooded out, you need to play all these counteractive cards. If you're playing the deck that's doing the flooding, you need to side different floodgate cards as per matchup, because you can't just main all these floodgate cards and expect, okay, well, I'm just going to draw this one in a certain matchup, because that's honestly, that's just cheating if you do that, or you're really lucky, but that's just not a good strategy regardless. And that's, again, what the side deck is for. So in crafting a side deck, there's also the concept of oversiding and undersiding. Oversiding is when obviously you put too many cards in for a certain matchup, so you're expecting a lot of ABC, let's say, in this format, which is rightfully so, but you're siding like 15 cards in for it, and so then you're drawing all these cards, and what if they just brick? So then all your cards just suck. All right, well, the end, see ya. And then if you underside, let's say you can only side 1 or 2 cards for a deck that's highly represented, and so then you go in and play the match, and then boom, like your opponent opens really good and you open like none of these side deck cards. So you obviously have to have a perfect amount, and on top of that you have to have just the right amount to where you can take a number of cards out of your main deck while keeping it consistent and put in these cards that'll give you the edge in these matchups, because otherwise you'll just overside by taking out too much of your engine to commit to these really like powerful side deck cards. And then on top of that, if you overside, you'll have less cards to side for other matchups, so like Metal Foe and like the Tree Toad decks of this format. You really need to try and side as many blanket cards as possible. Blanket cards are really important because you can side them in for multiple matchups, so it maximizes the value of your side deck, and that's super important too. The more blanket cards you have, the better your side deck ultimately is, especially based on how high impact they are in the game state. Max Reynolds has discussed this in a previous video, but in order to test these side deck choices, you really need to play these games out while putting these side deck cards in your hand, and that'll give you kind of like an understanding as to how much impact a card has in the game. For example, let's say you have Pot of what's it called?
What'd you say?
Avidity. Let's say Avidity. I got Kyle in here helping me out. So you got Pot of Avidity, right? But they have they may not have Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherry. So how high impact is this card in a matchup where they don't have cherries, or sometimes they do have cherries and then super high impact, right? But you already knew that. So it's a matter of seeing how high impact a card is. You can't overside, you can't underside. You have to find just the right amount, and that right amount is dictated by your main deck and how many cards you can take out while not detracting from your core engine. And blanket, like I said, blanket cards are the most important and most quintessential part of the side deck, because the more cards that you can side for the most matchups, the more maximized your side deck will be in terms of efficiency. And if the more efficient your side deck is, the better you'll probably do in tournament without having to rely on luck, drawing well, etc. That's all for me. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. As far as old YouTube videos are concerned, they say rate, comment, and subscribe, and you should do that anyway. Base Lolly, I'm retired, so don't call me that. I'm Alex, signing out.